obviously enter into a fee arrangement with the person, and that's something that can always be, contrary to what anybody says, it can always be negotiated.
Okay, that's good to hear.
You know, the mere fact that the lawyer says, this is my hourly rate and this is how much money, it's like any other business. You can negotiate, you can negotiate it, and quite frankly, I have respect the clients who come in and say, I want to talk, let's talk about it, you know, why it's going to cost this much amount of money and how it's going to necessarily be done. And you try to work with people within the contours of what they can afford and what the nature of the case is.
Especially in this economy.
Economy is very difficult. You know,
right.
The last thing anybody wants is receivables, and you know that it's a dentist.
Correct.
So you want to have something that everybody can live with.
Right.
And the best way to get yourself into that position is to have an upfront conversation about it and to be straight about it and say, look, this is what it's going to cost. And they can never come back and say afterwards, well, you didn't tell me it was going to cost, you know, $50,000 to handle this case when I thought it was going to cost 10. Depends on what kind of case it is. If I'm a plaintiff, then we're going to be filing a lawsuit. If I'm a defendant, we're going to be answering a lawsuit. The first thing we do is in busy practices, what's going to end up happening is that I'm going to bring other people in the firm into the case. Usually my colleagues or associates who work for the firm, obviously, and work closely, because nobody can do everything, just like dentists use dental assistants. So, and that's one of the important things for your viewers to really pay attention to, is that when you come in and meet the lawyer, while you're hiring that lawyer, and that lawyer may ultimately be controlling what the strategy is with the case, you got to meet the other people around them as well.
They're doing the day-to-day stuff to make it work.
They're in the trenches. You know, and you may wind up dealing with them from an hours standpoint more than you deal with the person who's ultimately running the case. So, you know, insist on meeting who the associates are. Many times we have some of the younger lawyers in our office, and they're not so young anymore, but handle certain things better than I do. And I tell the client that you would be much better off having them work on that aspect of it. And a lot of lawyers don't like to do that because they're concerned that it may scare the client off. That the client says, I want you. I'm going to hire you.
Pawned off.
That's right. But if you
tell
them,
they're really not.
They're really not. If you, actually, what are they hiring you for?
Direction.
You know, that's right. They're hiring you for your understanding, your sophistication, and how you necessarily are going to manage the case. If you want it to be effectively managed, you want to be able to delegate. Things get moved better. They get handled better, and the client winds up happy.